They're monuments not only to historic figures that, how should I say, were engaged in some aspect of struggle and became noteworthy. They are monuments to people like athletes. And sometimes these monuments have deeper meaning than appears on the surface. So I want to tell you about two. One is the monument to Arthur Ashe. How many of you have seen that one? Okay. The monument to Arthur Ashe is a wonderful backstory. If you go to Richmond, Virginia has this street called Monument Avenue. And on Monument Avenue, you can go down the street, and I have relatives from Virginia, and they would kind of bristle at the idea of Monument Avenue, because you go down to Monument Avenue, it's a wide, expansive boulevard with a kind of a medium down the middle, and at every intersection there is a beautiful, big equestrian monument to a Confederate general. Okay, and this was like the sacred territory of the Confederacy. That was their old capital, and so this has special meaning, especially to black folks. It's kind of like they're still talking about the Confederacy. But along Monument Avenue, maybe about 15 years ago, they erected the monument to Arthur Ashe. And so you come to what you see, people on horseback, generals and so forth and so on, at every intersection, and then you come to one intersection, and what do you see? A big, beautiful monument with this guy with a tennis racket. And the most beautiful thing about it is, not only is it Arthur Ashe with his tennis racket, but who surrounds him? Little African-American children. He's teaching them. It is just thrilling to see this monument. So you get a different image, and believe me, there was controversy in Richmond about putting that monument on Monument Avenue. But it was an answer to that history. It was a counter-narrative to that history about these African-American people who struggled and prevailed even beyond the Confederacy. The other one that I want to point you to is one that's in your town. There's a monumental African-American right here in Cleveland. And next time when the weather breaks like today and you want to go out for a walk over to, there's a little park right on Lakeside, right near the City Hall, and on the corner. Now, it used to be in the middle of the park, but they moved this monument to the corner. There's a monument to Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens, a Clevelander. Okay, he was born in Alabama, but grew up in Cleveland, went to East Tech, lived here all his life, and was the gold medal winner, first person to win 4 gold medals in an Olympics in 1936, and really was a star not only for the African American community, but for the United States. Because remember, those Olympics took place in Hitler's Germany, in Berlin. And those Olympics were about race and racism, about the master race, about the Aryan race. And the Nazis were busy promoting this kind of, this blatant notion of racial superiority. Now, there are a lot of people in the United States that kind of held to that same notion, but that aside, their consciousness was raised by what they saw Hitler doing. And a lot of people really woke up to the reality of racism because of those Olympics and because of Jesse Owens. Because Jesse Owens went to those Olympics and outran all the master race people, demonstrated that they were not superior, okay, and did it with grace and class. Came home a hero to a segregated America. Okay, so there's irony layered on irony here. But the point was that he became not only a symbol of his own athletic prowess, but a symbol of the struggle against racism and the triumph over racism in its most blatant form as it was lived out in Nazi Germany. So we have this monument, and we have these monuments all over the place. And I'd simply like to kind of lift that up to you to say, the history is there, it's all around. Sometimes we don't even see it. And I've done this kind of talk in places about the monuments and always surprise people about the one that's right there in their community. So the history is alive and it's around, and there are stories to be told that will inspire people to remember this particular history in America, that in the end, after all is said and done, is a history of a people who believed in God and who believed in the God of the prophets, who believed in a God who was about more than just personal salvation, but was a God that was about freedom, justice, and equality. The God who said, "Go down, Moses, and let my people go."